Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Car Talks. I'm Jillian.
Hi, I am Momma, also Amanda, and this is episode
5? Episode 5. Ooh, music. All right, so
Christmas is
today
coming.
Christmas is coming. We're talking about gift giving and love languages. But before we say that, I would like to make an announcement.
Uh-oh, I'm scared.
My announcement is, for the first time in my entire life, I got a voice phone number. I probably shouldn't scream like that.
Yeah.
It's gonna sound all horrible. I got a boy's phone number for the first time in my entire life.
A boy? Is he a boy?
A man.
Thank
He's
you.
A man.
Let's clarify. That's creepy.
He's a man. He's a man.
Thank
and
God.
I'm so nervous.
Now, so what are you gonna do with it? You got the number now. Now what do you do with that?
I'm letting things. We're coasting right now. We'll see. I don't want to do too much too fast. So,
right.
But who knows? By the time people see this, all kinds of stuff could happen.
That's freaky.
So
that's freaky.
Who knows?
Whoa.
Who knows? The record versus upload time is drastically different. So who knows?
But isn't it weird? Like now the delicate dance that you have to do. Like, not literal dance, but that back and forth, like gentle, like, and all the games you have to play in your head about when to call, when not to call, what to say, what not to say. You don't want to come across like,
and I'm like
this way.
I've never done anything. I've never talked to anyone. I've never like had that kind of a crush on anyone before, and so I'm very like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm like feeling it, but I'm feeling like this is the first time I've ever been like, oh yeah, I would date him, and that I feel like he would also date me, and that it feels like he's maybe giving signs of wanting to maybe date me. It's like the first time I've ever like felt like that from Amanda. So
Amanda,
you know, Amanda.
Duh.
So yeah, so I'm in the ooey gooey phase, and I'm in
not even
oh my
yet.
Gosh,
like you're not even in the
not even.
You're in the scary.
I'm in the scaries. I got the scaries.
Right, like you have no idea if it's gonna be
scaries.
Like you think he feels that way, but you're not sure. And then
like there's really no way for me to know until I try.
And you don't know, like, what if he says, I have a girlfriend, I'm gay. But
also,
like,
if he's 1,000% not gay. 1,000% not gay.
Okay.
There's no shot this man is gay.
Okay. Well, okay, so at least you know that, right? That's hard too, though.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that is hard to gauge nowadays, but I really don't.
After episode number 2 that we had a few weeks back.
Yeah, after that conversation, it is kind of, I can't judge, but I really don't think he's gay.
Yeah.
So, really don't think that. But, you know, if that happens, oh well. But I'm like 90% sure he's not. And
okay, so what would you want to do on your first date? Like, what do you think you'd want to do on your very first date?
I have no idea.
Okay, so what wouldn't you not like? I don't think it should be a movie. Like, a movie is a cop out. A movie is like, because you don't have to talk.
A movie is a cop out. A movie is a cop out.
Right? I'm so dumb. I remember being in college and this guy, we were in class together and he kept talking to me and I was completely single. And then at one point, I like, even for me, you had to like completely spell it out, because like when your dad and I met, we knew we were looking for a relationship, right? So we both Like when we met, that was the motivator. We knew that. But like here I was in class and I went with this guy to like our student union at college, you know, the normal college place. And I think we probably got like a pop or a drink or whatever. And might have even ate. I don't remember, but I remember like we got along super well, super well. And then I think he asked me to like, hey, you want to go to dinner? Like I don't remember if like his family owned this one restaurant near where we were at school.
Something.
And he was like, oh yeah, you know, you could come check it out. Like my family owns a restaurant. And he was super casual about it. And I was such a dingbat. I didn't realize he was asking me out. And he didn't come right out and say, hey, would you like to go out sometime? I think he was trying to like read the room, you know, like, do I think she wants to? And then later, I don't know, like class ended, we all moved on or whatever. And it hit me later, like, oh, I think he was asking me, like, I think he wanted to hang out. And he was super cute and super fun. And I would have had such a good time with this guy. And I did not even realize it. Nope.
I would be clueless.
Did not even have an idea. Nope.
That's how I felt for a little while because I think he's been kind of flirting with me. I'm not sure though.
That's not funny. You think, like, how do you know? Like,
how do you know? Like, is he just being polite or is he?
You can't know subtle.
Like flirting with me. Like, I have no idea.
The funny part about this is we're talking about this right now. I have no idea what's going to play out.
I know.
And this is going to air.
I know.
Well,
so we'll see how this plays out, and you guys are going to find out what happens about 4 weeks after I experienced it. So that's going to be interesting. But perfect transition to our topic today is gift giving for holiday season and love languages.
So because we know how you are, I think a big thing I should do is you should give me his number and I could text him. So if you guys do have a first date, that he makes sure he brings you a gift. If he really wants to.
I'm not giving this man my mom's number.
No, I know. But my point being, if you want Jillian to truly love you, just give her a gift.
Okay, well, I'm not asking you to do that. If someone does that, it's going to be like my friend that I sit next to in class who's going to be like, hey, you should give her a gift. Not my mom. That's insane. That would be
joking.
Psychotic behavior, and he would run for the hills.
I am 100% joking. I do not want his number. I will not have anything to do with it until someday when you're ready for me to meet somebody fine. But
if anything even comes of it, we have no idea. I just got his number today. I have
but my segue is this. If you want Jillian to truly feel like you love her, buy her a gift.
Anything. It could literally, you could.
But make sure you wrap it.
All right, we're back. I gotta settle down.
So, but make sure you wrap the gift, because that's what makes it a gift.
That's exactly. It doesn't you don't have to buy me anything. Like, I'm not kidding you. You could be walking down the street and see a flower and pluck it out of the freaking grass and stick it in a gift bag. And I would
Here, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Here's a weed.
I found a fly. It's a weed.
Here's a weed I plucked out of the sidewalk on my way here. Happy birthday.
Oh my.
No, absolutely.
Oh my God. Here's a sock, only one, because I couldn't find a match. But it's in a gift bag.
I would be happy. I'd be like, oh, thank you. I'm so happy you gave me something to open. Like, I don't even care. I literally don't care. Like, at work, I love doing shipment because I get to just open a bunch of stuff. It's like presents. I just get to open stuff the whole day, and I just get to sit there, and I have no idea what's going to show up because I don't order things. It just comes in the box, and I open it and put it on the floor. And so I have no idea what's going to show up. It's a
It's a
surprise
surprise
every
every
single
time.
time, and it's retail, so it's
You have
clothes
no
and
idea
jewelry, and
what's going
ooh, that notebook's cute, and oh my god, I really like that mug, and whatever. Like, I love it. I love, and not only do I love opening things, but I love giving people things to open, and I love I thrive for finding the perfect gift for someone. Like, I will search and search and search, and I will go on a hunt, and I will scour everything I possibly can until I find like a perfect gift. And you know this because you have to yell at me about spending money on people and buying people
I
Christmas
was
gifts,
just going to say,
because
because you're mad at me.
love giving.
I didn't let you get me a birthday gift.
I got her birthday gift, and I wanted to mail it to her, and she wouldn't let me mail it. She said, do not spend money on mailing it. I said, but I want you to open it on your birthday. She said, I don't care. And I said, I want to so bad. But I didn't. I caved and I didn't. So I'm going to hold on to it until I come home for Christmas. Then you're going to get birthday and a Christmas gift right at the same time. But still though, like, and I'm not that happy with the gifts that I got you this year, just because like I know my capabilities, and I know how well I can find a good gift. And
yes, but you have to get cut off.
No, I could spend thousands of dollars on people. I love it. It's so fun. Just giving and watching people's reactions when they love something so much. Like, we just surprised my roommate with her sister for her birthday, and her mom has my number, like, for like, you know, just in case or whatever. And
I didn't know that was a surprise.
It was a surprise. So her mom texted me like half a week before her birthday and was like, hey, so her sister wants to fly in on this day to surprise her for her birthday for the weekend, and she has no idea that it's happening. Would you be able to pick her up from the airport? And I was like, absolutely, I would. I was like, yes, you are asking the right person. I live for this shit. I live for surprising people with stuff. Yep. I love it so much. I love birthdays. I love any holiday that I can give someone something. It's the best thing ever. And so I went to the airport, picked her up at 8 a.m. on a Friday morning, when I normally get to sleep in on Fridays because that's college. Went and got her. Me and her sister are all excited. We're talking the whole ride back. We're like, oh my God, we're talking about how excited we are about how she's going to react. And my roommate is a really even mellow person. Like, she doesn't really react to things that much. And so we were all like, I wonder if she's going to react, or like how she's going to react. And
if she's going to go, oh,
and
hi.
She basically, so she walks, we stuck her into the apartment. Well, we didn't have to sneak her. My roommate was off in a class, and I bring her up into the apartment, and so I go get her at 8. My roommate wasn't gonna be back until 10, after 10:30. So we're all just sitting in the apartment, pestering and waiting, and we're all just like, ooh, what's gonna happen? And so my roommate walks, and
you couldn't really poke at her because that would have been bad.
Yeah, when are you gonna be back? We all had to just wait.
Yeah.
And so she walks into the apartment, and her sister is hiding our couch. The back of one of our chairs in our living room faces the door. So when she comes in the door, she couldn't see her sister sitting down in this chair. So she had to walk into the living room to see her. And so she's like, we're like, how was your day? How was your class? We're just asking whatever normal stuff. And she's telling us, and as she walks into the living room, she looks at the chair and she goes, I knew it, like that. And we all were like, no. We were like, what? And she went, I knew it. I knew you were coming. She was like, I saw that Mom was at the airport this morning. And we were all like, why were you looking at your mom's location at 3 a.m.? Because they have Life 360. And so she got, but her sister turned her location off. So my roommate only saw that her mom was at the airport. She didn't know why. And we were all like, oh. But it was still such a fun surprise. It was so fun and sweet. And I was so excited. I was like, I felt honored that her mom asked me to help help get the surprise to happen.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, absolutely. I was like, I will definitely do it. I don't care what I have to do. I will do it if it means we surprise her for her birthday. So it was so fun. And she just left today, and it was a really fun weekend. So
Do you know when the light bulb went on for me that gifts was one of your, like, the ways you show love, right? And so there's a book by Gary Chapman called The 5 Love Languages, and people have heard it all over. They all like make references to it. It's super, super popular. And I have not read it word for word, but I know parts and pieces, and I kind of know what all of, like, what you, Dad, and George and me, what ours are. I don't pay a ton of attention to anybody else really, but just us, I do.
yeah.
And it hit me like when you were about, I want to say you were about 7 or 8 years old, and we had Christmas, and Christmas, like, we always went way overboard on Christmas. Your dad loves Christmas, lots of like gifts and all this, right? And then Christmas is over, and it got to be like the February 1st.
Oh,
So,
I remember. I
Valentine's
didn't know
Day
where
is
this
coming.
was going. I was like, where is this going? What is she going to tell? I remember this. What,
So
how old was I?
Valentine's
Probably
Day is
like
coming.
10?
By 7. No, I think you were by about
7?
7 or 8.
Well, it was
You're
at
pretty
the new
young.
house, so I was at least 8 because I remember I turned 8 and then
Okay.
moved to the new house.
Yeah. Well, it would have been right then.
All right. Yeah, it must have been
8.
that. So we'll say I was
Okay,
8.
So
I was
yeah.
young.
8, yeah. I can't believe you were 9, maybe 9. Definitely not older than that. So you decide for Valentine's Day we were gonna draw names.
Well, do you know where the
And-
name drawing came from?
Where?
So it came from on Dad's side of the family at Christmas. All of the younger cousins, like all of my cousins and I, every year at Thanksgiving, we would draw names out of a hat to see who we were getting a gift for that year. So that way we would all take turns.
Okay.
That's where that came from, because I was like, I know why, because I was like, oh, well, we draw names at Christmas. Why don't we draw names for this?
Okay. Well, that's fine logic.
That's where that came from.
So you made up the whole rule of this Valentine's Day that year. And I don't even know, like, I just remember we were probably all hanging out or whatever in the living room, whatever it was. And you said, okay, we are going to draw names for Valentine's Day. And so I think you actually said, so we are going to buy each other gifts for Valentine's Day. And I'm just like,
I know why. I know the
And you
other
said-
reason that I did this.
You
too.
said every single one of us are going to buy each other a gift. We all have to, because there are only 4 of us, like, big deal. We all have to buy each other a small gift, but then we're going to draw names, and whoever's name you get, you have to buy them a big gift. And so you were working it so that you could get a gift and give a gift, because you like to give gifts just as much. So you could but I didn't realize that at that time. I just thought you were scamming, trying to get more gifts. So at that time, you were going to get a gift from 2 people, and then one person was going to get you a big gift. And I don't remember who got your name, because I had to buy all of the gifts because your brother wasn't going to, and neither was your dad.
Yep.
So I did all of the gift shopping.
Wait,
And
I
I was
didn't
like-
know that.
Okay. Well, why would
I don't
they?
know.
Right? So this one was going to be
I don't
from
know, but
George. This one was
I
gonna be
remember
from...
why I connived all that.
Do you remember
Yes,
what you
because
got?
it was-
Well, the little gifts were all like candy
Yeah.
bars and stuff. But do you remember what
Yes,
your big gift
because
was?
I did all of this just so I could get the big gift. And it was,
What was
a colorful disco ball from Home Depot that I had saw. I was in there with Dad, and it would spin, and
And it shot
all
colors
over.
all around
It
your
was literally
room.
just a colorful disco. It was a disco ball. It was like a little light disco ball, and it spun and it had colors and it did colorful disco ball. And I saw it at Home Depot one time when I was with Dad or something, and I remember like, I want that. I remember being like, I really want that. And so so I connived all of this just so that way I could get that disco ball, and I got it. And I got the disco
And it was
ball.
like $30. And so it was like a $30. So then there was like a limit. I don't know if you set the limit. I think you set the limit.
I think it was $50 was the big gift limit. Yes,
was
because
it?
I wanted to make it.
So
I was like, if I make it $20, they're not going to get me the disco ball. And if I make it $30, they're not going to get me the disco ball. So I have to make it higher than what the disco ball would cost. So that way the disco ball doesn't sound like it's that much.
There was a whole sense. Oh my
I
God.
had it all thought out.
So
I remember doing this.
And honestly, that whole thing, I cannot tell you what any of us got anybody except for
I know,
that
me
one
too.
thing, that
I
disco
have no
ball.
idea because
I
do you
have
know
no
what?
idea
I
what
didn't care about anything
any
else
of us
but
got
that
each
disco
other.
ball.
The stupid disco ball.
Because normally you would have just
that
gotten
was
us.
what I realized.
Well, normally you would have just gotten us like a chocolate or something on Valentine's Day just to have fun.
Well,
But
yeah,
I
it's
wanted the
Valentine's
disco
Day.
ball, and my birthday's not till October, and so I was like, I can't. It's gonna be gone before my birthday.
Do you remember what happened after it? Do you remember what happened after that event? I put a stop to it. I said, never again. We're not drawing names for Valentine's Day. I said, no more.
Because you had to do everything.
Like, this is stupid. We're not drawing names or whatever big gifts is for birthdays and Christmas, not Valentine's Day.
Well,
so we didn't do it
never
anymore.
again. But I didn't care because I got the disco ball.
Maybe, who knows? Maybe this year you'll get a real Valentine.
We'll find out. Wait and see.
We'll find out. Yeah, we don't even know.
Nobody knows.
Yep. So then later on, I learned that much later, it took many years for me to have a true understanding, and many years of living with you.
Which is crazy that after that you didn't.
Gift. Well, no, you let me finish it. A true understanding that it wasn't just about getting the gifts.
Yeah.
That it was both. It was both giving and receiving.
Yeah.
I do think you're a little bit slightly biased to the receiving. We all are. But you love giving them more than, like, way more than I do.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll do a lot
way
for a
more.
gift.
I find it to be a burden.
I know you do. I know you do because
I'd rather just
because
$100 in a card.
I know you do because this is what I.
And you don't want that.
This is what I asked for my birthday. She keeps bugging me. What do you want for your birthday? What do you want for your birthday? And my birthday will have already passed by the time this comes out. But my birthday is a week from today, the day that we're recording this. And right. I keep saying, and I'm probably not even going to get anything on time because she probably hasn't even done anything yet. And
I've not bought one.
And it has to mail 16 hours.
And your birthday is next.
Nice. So
it's next Monday.
So I asked for, I said, I don't care how much you spend. All I want is a bunch of silly little things wrapped up in a box, individually wrapped in a box that is also wrapped, that shows up in the mail for me to open. I don't care what they are. It can be a freaking colored pencil.
Weed.
I do
flower,
not care. I just want to open stuff, and I just want to open things. That's all I want.
Do you know what I got you last year?
Yeah, my phone. And like you got me.
Oh, because I had no idea.
So you got me a phone. You got me an like burnt orange Calvin Klein sweater, and a little makeup palette, a little eyeshadow palette.
I do remember that.
And the year before,
I remember now that you're telling me, but I
remember all of it. And the year before, I was in school in the dorm. And so you mailed me a box with a bunch of little things wrapped in it. And I remember you got me like Cards Against Humanity.
Yes, but I have no idea what was in the boxes.
You got me like Cards Against Humanity. You got me little candies. You got me a couple little makeup-y things, like a couple little hair ties. You got me these pair of socks that I still have and I wear, and they're so cute, and they got little ruffles around the top of the ankle.
Why do you even, I don't know how you remember that. I do know what you got me last year for my birthday. It was tickets to see
that's
Bastille.
right. Yes, it was. That was hard for me to remember because I got them like in January, and your birthday wasn't until September.
And the only reason is because it was a big birthday.
Yeah.
So I went and got it. Or I was a big, and it was a big event.
Yeah.
If you would have bought me like a sweater or something, I wouldn't remember what it was.
Yeah, but I knew, because I had been trying to get you, I got you those because the year before I was going to get you tickets to see Pearl Jam in Madison Square, and Dad was going to plan the trip, and you guys were going to drive up there. And then they canceled their whole tour. And I was so mad because I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I was this close because I was just waiting. I was watching the tour dates. I was watching for them to go on sale. And then they went on sale. And so then I went to Dad and I was like, Dad, I want to do this. He said, okay, just tell me how much. And like, we weren't going to spend a ton, but just any seat in the house would be a seat is good enough,
Oh yeah. It would have been a ton.
And then they canceled. At first they postponed the tour, but they had no set date. And then like a year later, they just canceled it. And I was like, oh, I was so upset. It was because it would have worked out perfectly. The show would have been over the summer, so you wouldn't have been working, and it was going to be so perfect. So then I redeemed myself and got you Bastille last year.
So we were talking about the love languages and the different things so I started learning about them more and more. Like, I don't know how to word this. So I don't really know when I read the book, right? But I don't know like how old you were. I don't know I think we lived at the new house, but I'm not sure. I just really don't know. So that would have put you at about 8 years old or something. But at some point, I was really looking into the love languages, and it was really for your dad to like really identify it. Like, and I don't know, like, I wouldn't really identify that about you because like gift giving I feel like that's kind of easy to identify. Like, it's very clear that you like to give and receive gifts.
Yeah.
Like, it's very obvious, right? But there's other love languages that aren't so obvious.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And for people who don't understand or don't know, the point of the love language is how do you send and receive love and how you actually feel and comprehend it, right? So it's not just... And like, so the comparison is this. I like gifts. And if you give me a gift, I'm very like pleased and happy. But, and I enjoy it, but I don't feel like that doesn't tell me that you love me. Sorry. Now, let me tell you, I know that that's how you love me, because that's how you speak and communicate love.
Well, yeah.
Right? I recognize that that's important to you, and I know that that's how you love me, and that's how you are going to receive a communication of love. So I will give you the gift, but I'm not like you, and I'm not like that, right? So and it makes it sound horrible because I like gifts, but that's not like my thing. Like, so the other person in our lives who was like that was my dad. He was a gift giver, send and receive gifts, right? He liked that too. But for me, it's other things. But I started learning about it more so for your dad.
Yeah.
Because your dad has had a lot of depression issues for a long time. And so, and it's not just like, he was having a bad day. He has clinical depression. He has worked really, really hard at
Okay. Solid green?
He's worked.
Okay,
Yep.
sorry.
We can cut it. So he's worked really, really hard at becoming physically and mentally healthy. And like he's doing amazing. So good.
Really good.
But it took a lot of years, and it's taken a lot of work and continues to take a lot of work.
Right.
And it'll never go away. And it's just, but many years of therapy and a lot of stuff, right? But I got it to talk so I could better communicate with him. That's why I had read the book, was so that I could find a way, because I was like, and have for many years, like grasping at straws of anything to help him, anything to improve his state of mind, anything to improve our relationship, and like just grasping all the time. And so that was one of the things I had found, and it was, how do they send and receive love? So for me, this is going to sound horrible. It's going to sound horrible. It was a way for me to communicate love to him, understand how he was going to receive that information and receive the signal of love. And this is going to sound really awful. It was a way for me to manipulate. Just like you did at
Valentine's
Day.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You totally manipulated Valentine's
Day.
And I don't mean that in a mean way of like, oh, I'm going to manipulate your dad into, getting something.
No.
But it was me manipulating him to be happy.
Yeah, you were doing, well, I wouldn't consider that manipulation. You were just really...
Okay, but it's a positive manipulation.
It's positive manipulation because you put the effort in to... Sorry. There is this... I gotta say what...
Sorry, I'm laughing at how you said the word because I don't even know if you did say the word.
What did I say?
I don't know what came out of your...
I don't know either because I got interrupted because there's this sweet, cute little old guy delivering Amazon packages in his little Ford Flex. And
he's delivering
gifts.
He's delivering gifts.
It's so cute. And he walks like grandpa, and he's like got a little hunch, and he's hobbling along, and he's taking these little Amazon packages.
Does he have a white beard?
No, I don't think so, but he's got little white hair, and it was just so cute.
Is his name? Is his initials SC?
It was just so cute. Santa Claus? Honestly, yeah, probably. It was so cute. He like got out of his car and he's delivering little Amazon packages, and it was just so cute that I got distracted. I didn't think about it that way. That's really funny. But yeah, I think
it's positive manipulation.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, well, I wouldn't consider it manipulation because that's just...
Well, it's in a positive, like manipulation.
No,
can manipulation be positive, or is it always only negative?
No, I think it can be positive, but I wouldn't call it manipulation because it's simply you were learning what dad likes and didn't like, and you were learning about what would make him happy. And so you were doing those things to try to make him happy. Like, I guess, yes, it is technically manipulation, but because of the negative connotation that the word manipulation has, I wouldn't call it manipulation. You know what I mean? Like, because you were just...
Would you care? But you wouldn't care if you were being manipulated as long as you were getting a gift.
Well, the whole thing of manipulation is that you don't know what's happening. So,
right? So you don't...
So you would have no idea.
Yeah.
But I just think, like, when it comes to dad... That was such a unique situation,
I used it as a way...
Yeah. That when it comes to dad, it's like, because of...
But it's the same for me, though.
Yeah, because...
If you do a love language for me, I'm happy.
Right, because I know that if I clean up the kitchen for you, that you're going to come home.
I was just going to say, what's...
If I clean up... If Mom is acts of service, and if you do any, and I have learned that the gift giving and getting is my prime. I love doing that, but I would have to say that acts of service is right up there with it, because it is very similar, because you're still doing something for that person. Like, I view gift giving as sometimes like me going to get my roommate's sister and surprise her. Like, I didn't give her a gift, but I went and did all of that, so I still felt like I was in some way gifting her, and it was for her birthday, so it was
that was
a
big thing though.
But like for you,
if I go and clean up your kitchen for you,
well, like I know that
if any of your roommates went and cleaned the kitchen, would you feel like just so
yes,
like,
every time? No, yes, because when I come back from work, I had a moment of like, okay, let me backtrack a little. When I was home for last winter and I was just working and saving up before coming here for school, I really learned that, because by then I had grown up and like doing things like the dishes and vacuuming or whatever weren't irritating me like they did when I was in high school.
You'd lived on your own.
Yeah, and so I just kind of did them. But more importantly, I knew that if the kitchen was cleaned when you got home, later on, if I came up to you and said, can we go to this restaurant for dinner tonight, you would say yes.
So you used it as manipulation.
I used it as manipulation. Or if I was like,
and I didn't care. Like, I would have been like,
yeah, you didn't care, because do you know why?
I feel so happy.
Do you know why? Because you would have rather gone out to eat than messied up your clean kitchen. That's exactly why. And so, yes, when I come, and so now that I have a job and I live in a space with other people, and I think a lot of it is when it's your own mess, it's not that big of a deal, but it's so irritating when you clean. Oh, it's the most frustrating thing when you've gone through and cleaned an entire space that's a shared space, and somebody else immediately comes in behind you and makes a big, huge mess. It's the most irritating thing ever. I'm understanding that now. And then
leaves the mess because they don't. It's not important to them.
That's the worst part. And so, like, when I come home from work and one of my roommates the cute old guy's coming back, and one of my roommates has cleaned the kitchen, I am overjoyed, because I have just been on my feet for the last 8 to 10 hours. All I want to do is come back and have a space that I can pour myself a bowl of cereal, because I don't have the energy to cook dinner. I've been at work for 8 or 10 hours. And all I'm going to do is pour myself a bowl of cereal and sit on the couch and eat it. And when I come back and the kitchen is a mess and I don't even have a spot for me to set the box of cereal on the counter, I am so irritated, because I have been at work all day and you have been here all day doing what? Because from my perspective, all I've been doing is working and they've just been there doing nothing. Granted, I know they're probably working on something, but if you are in the space, please clean it up. Like, it's the least you can do.
Well, and it goes like last episode. Well, no, it was episode number 2 that an individual's perceptions are reality, right? And combine it with the love languages, like that they don't
see the mess.
They don't see it. No. And if they're busy, like, you don't know. You don't have any idea what they were on deadline for, what was going on, right? Or anything. And so you just walk in and you can see that one.
But the part that, when it comes to that kind of thing, the part that really irritates me the most is that I do clean up after myself, even with everything that I'm doing. Like, I really try really hard to not leave messes out.
Because it's important to you, but it's not to them. But that's the service part.
Yeah, because, and like, I just feel guilty because I know that it's a shared space, and I know that other people want to use that space. And if I'm irritated when someone else's mess is there, why would I leave my mess there? That's how I see it. So I always try to clean up after myself and not leave any messes out. And so yeah, like, I do think that for me it is partially like I just want it to, like, I want them to do it without me having them to ask them to do it.
You know, and that's the funny thing about acts of service being your love language.
Yeah.
That's super important. Like, do you want me to give you a birthday gift without asking me to give you a birthday gift?
That's why whenever you say, what do you want me to get you? I say, I don't know. And I could probably think of 1,000 things, but in reality, in the back of my mind, I want you to have remembered the conversation that we had a month ago about this thing that I want that I don't remember, because I do that. I remember things like that. And so,
I know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's like you and I obviously, I know things that you'd like or whatever because I'm close to you, but that's the thing with service too. I don't want to have to tell people to do things. So when you were little, I used to leave. I learned how to communicate with you, and this is a totally different, just because it's a way of communicating.
Right.
Of choreless, I learned after much fighting and screaming at each other. I learned, because yes, we yelled at each other.
That's what you do.
I learned, we're a family. So I learned that if I just wrote a list of the things I wanted to see get done during the day, like on like the normal Saturday weekend chores, right? If I just wrote it on a list,
school or whatever,
you'd go and tackle it and do the list. And and I battled it because I think I was like, because service is a part of how I receive love. And it's like, don't they just see that these things need to be done? But it was a combination of, I expected you to read my mind. I'm also a mom of little kids. And it was the whole dynamic of it. And I learned if I just wrote the list of things that needed to be done, it was a game changer.
Yeah, because they would eventually get done.
You still weren't happy, like as a little kid and a teenager, you weren't happy about doing them, but you would go, and you didn't want to talk to me because you're pissed because you had to do them, and you would go and do them and tackle it, right?
Yeah.
And your brother, he never did that.
I know, because I always did everything.
Like clean the house day. Well, you didn't. He didn't. But say it was clean the house day, right? He needed me to tell him moment by moment.
Okay, now do this. Okay, now do this.
He would be like, yep, okay, what's next? I'll go back in the living room. Okay, you go, come back. Okay, Mom, now what's next? Like he was not going to look at the list, and he just needed me to tell him what to do next. Totally different way of communicating, right?
I have a really funny memory.
Love language. Do you know?
I have a really funny memory of that, like, kind of thing. And this is a great example of how much I remember, because I remember way more than I need to.
Irritatingly everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love it, but you hate it. So I can remember at our old house. So at the old house, I was only there until I was 7 years old. Okay? By the time I turned 8, we moved into this new house, and everything else was from this. So the fact that I even remember this is really crazy. But I distinctly remember in the old house, it was after it got remodeled, and there was the kitchen island, but then the kitchen table was like next to the kitchen island where the living room used to be. You remember? And then like the deck was off of there. And I remember you had our kitchen table sitting in that space, and you had dumped all of the clean laundry onto the kitchen table. And you were like, all right, come on, everybody. Dad was gone working, but you were like, all right, me and George, you're like, come on, we're folding laundry. And just partially probably because you didn't want to do it by yourself, but you're also teaching us how to do things and how to grow up and whatever. And I just remember you and I standing there, and I remember it being towels. For some reason, it was a load of a bunch of towels, like bath towels. And you and I are sitting there folding them. And I must have been 6 or 7 at this point. I was a little older, because old enough for the house to have been remodeled. And you and I are sitting there folding the towels, and I'm just doing it because you asked me to do it. And so I'm just doing it. And I remember George, like, half-ass folding the towel and like throwing it on the table because he did not want to do it at all. I don't know what it was that he wanted to do instead, but he just did not want to. And I can see it happening in my brain right now. Like I'm reliving it in my brain. He's like folding the towel really fast and then throwing it down. And I remember you got super mad at him, probably because of built up stuff. And this was like your breaking point because it was silly, but you got super mad at him. And I remember you stopping and going, George? And you went, you went, let me remember exactly what you said. Oh, you said, George, if you're not going to fold the towels right, then you're going to have to do this whole load of laundry by yourself, and we're going to sit here and watch. and you were like, because he was like folding the towels really poorly, and he was like doing it with an attitude, and like he didn't want to do it, and you and I were sitting there, and I think like the whole day you and I had kind of been doing stuff around the house, and he was off doing whatever he was doing, and it got to the point where you were like, this isn't fair, he needs to be doing stuff too. And
yeah, I was being you
were being a normal mom. And I just remember him being like, okay, fine, and then he would like, because you were like, you know how to fold a towel properly, you're old enough to know how to fold a towel, I shouldn't have to teach you how to fold a towel. And I think you even said like, Jillian's folding the towel, how come you can't fold the towel? And you just yelled at him, and you were like, and it was a mound of laundry.
And your dad's is, do you know what your dad's is?
No, yeah, dad's is quality time too. Dad just wants you to be there.
His bigger one is it's words of affirmation.
Oh.
He needs to hear people verbalize that he's
doing a good job,
just affirming. Yeah.
Well, that type of thing's not really gonna come from me.
It can come from anyone. So he needs, like, that's just how he sends and receives love.
Yeah,
he needs receiving it more. Like, he needs to hear that like, you're doing that right, or you're doing a good job, or I love you, or from people at work, it would be like, oh, like appreciation for a job that he's done. Like, that makes him feel really good. That's how he like receives receives love. It's like, it's funny to say it like that, like receives love, because you don't really like care if the people you work with love you.
No, but
it's the communication of love, and it's like, we all need to send love back and forth to each other. And there's just all the different levels of love, and we all need to do that. And that's how
I know what you mean.
He feels so good if things go good at his job and things go well, and he and it is all going well, and people say that it makes him feel really good. It's like, it's a big high for him.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So if he's having like a down day, if I am able to express to him
that he's doing good, or
like,
and do you know what I found?
And he's worthy, and
when it comes to Dad, it's, especially when he's having a down day, it's reminding him of the good things that he's already accomplished. Like reminding him of things that he's already accomplished.
That's
which, yes, I know that's the same thing, but I think, like if I had to think about times where I might have given him words of affirmation, like that's usually what it is he'll come in and he'll be like, oh, I'm just so upset, like I didn't get this done, and I'll be like, but what did you get done? And he'll be like, well, I did this today, and then he like brings himself back up, and he's like, okay, I did do a lot today, I did get some stuff done, I can get more done tomorrow, like. And so
here's Marty. He's down there snoring on my lap.
Yeah, perked back up.
I might be snoring on the podcast.
And the ultimate love language of all, the ultimate love language of all is pets. Is having a little Marty or a cat or whatever, having a little Marty that you can just love and love and love. They're the best ever, and I'm so jealous.
Do you think that
I miss him?
Yeah.
He's so cute.
Do you think that you use the love languages at work? Like, can you identify what
Yes.
like your bosses
Yes.
or someone you work, I mean, so, and doesn't your boss, but someone you work
Yes,
closely with?
my manager is 100% acts of service. His is at least in that environment, which it sounds like, well, duh, of course your manager wants you to do stuff. But he, like, because I have coworkers.
If it's clear, it's
Right.
clear.
And I have
right?
coworkers.
If it's clear,
I have coworkers who don't really do anything, and he has to bug them and ask them over and over again, can you please get back on task? Can you please do this? And he says to me all the time, okay, like, an example of this is actually really funny. An example of this, I really only work on the weekends because that's the only time that I have available. Otherwise, I'm in class and doing school stuff and whatever. So I'm almost always only there on the weekends, and he's usually there during the week. And so Friday is usually the only day that we really like see each other. And I'm really lucky. I have a really awesome manager. I have really awesome coworkers. Like, we all get along. Like, it's super easy to go in and work with those people. Like, really, it's fun. And him and my assistant manager always make jokes that I'm the adult in the room, because there have been a lot of things that happen that, like, I deal with it and they don't. Like, an example of this is one time there was this homeless guy, like, outside of our store, yelling at people and, like, swinging his cane at people. Like, you could tell he was on some kind of drug, but he was, like, being extremely aggressive, and he was, like, almost hitting tourists and people walking down the street with this cane. And so we were like, and he had been doing it for like 20 minutes and didn't go away. And so I was like, okay, we need to call the cops and have them give him a move on order, because this is not right. Like, he's going to hurt someone. And so
Right.
I was like,
he's obviously mentally
yes,
ill
something is not
right?
right, whatever. He's attacking people or swinging this cane at people and screaming at people. And then he screamed at my coworker when she went outside to smoke her cigarette. And so that's when it was like, okay, we got to do something about this. And my phone was plugged in to play music. So I looked at my assistant manager, who's like in her 30s, and I was like, hey, do you want to grab your phone and call non-emergency or 911 or whatever, so that way we can have someone come in, have him, go away or whatever. And give him the move on order or whatever. And she was like, I can't call the cops. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, it's not that big of a deal. You just call and, whatever. They just route you, tell them what's going on. She's like, I'm not going to be able to do that. And the reason I said it to her was because she had her phone. I didn't. Mine was playing music. So I was like, oh, do you just want to do it? Because it's your phone.
You got your phone right there.
And I was like, well, are you okay with me using your phone to do it? And she goes, oh, yeah, you can do it. And so she didn't want to call. She was like, I have phone anxiety. She's like, I'm not calling. I don't want to do it. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. So she gives me her phone. I type in the non-emergency number, go through all the steps of, you have to describe the situation like 6 times whenever you call police, because they have to reroute you to departments or wherever. Yeah. And so I have to re-explain it. And finally I get to the cops, whatever. The cop shows up, the whole thing gets handled, we move on. After that happened, her and my manager, it's my manager and my assistant manager, they both make jokes all the time that I'm the adult in the room, because I handled that whole thing. Like, and I was just like, this is what's going on. Can you guys have him get out of here? And the cop shows up, cop talks to me, cop goes and deals with it. And it was like, it was like it was any other day. Like, I had no, like, dramatics or anything. I was just like, yeah, whatever.
But in clarity, like, that had been like the 3rd time you had to call the cops on
something
crazy stuff that has gone on around
which is crazy
since you've been there. In like the last 6 months, within 6 months you've called like what, 3 or 4
3 times, yes, for different things. And so that was my 3rd time calling the cops.
But in the sidebar too is people, I think there's a whole bunch of people, like more people have phone anxiety.
Yes, a lot of people do, But when it
Like,
comes to,
and that's just from me and my students, they're like terrified to make a phone call. Many of them are.
Well, so when it comes to love languages, they, you know, whatever, that happened. I became the adult in the room. So just last Friday, I got to work and there was no customers in the store. Like somehow on a Friday, there's no customers in the store. And my manager and my assistant manager are both there with one of my other coworkers. And they had been like reorganizing and rearranging stuff around the whole store like the whole week, and they spent the whole day like really going in on it because they finally had a day where there weren't really anybody coming in and out. And I come in and my manager comes up to me and he's always like, how are you doing, whatever, like, how are you doing, how's your day? And then you know, whatever, we talk a little. And then he goes, look, I want to show you what we did. And he's like walking me around the store and showing me everything that he did and like everything that they like reorganized. And
So is it service?
Yes. And I stopped and I looked at him and I was like, his name's John. And I was like, John, you're reporting this into me as if I'm your boss. And he stops and he laughs. And it was so funny because he was. And I'm sitting there and I was like, you're my manager. I was like, why are you telling me this as if I'm going to like tell you it's not good?
He was so proud.
And he was proud. So
he
is acts of service and words of affirmation, because then
he wanted to show me to like validate, like
he literally said that because I, you know, he showed me and I'm like, oh yeah, it looks great. And then I had said that to him and he goes, yeah, because I know you'll tell me it looks good. And
yes,
he knew what he wanted.
He didn't need it,
but
he's a secure person.
Yeah, he's fine.
But it's part of that
dynamic. Yeah,
and you're not like, I don't have that same experience at work because we don't work so closely with each other, and you know, we're all teaching in our own space, and I don't experience that with the students, the students, because I don't get to know them on that level, that deeper level, to really have a clear understanding of what their love language is. I mean, there's like methods of teaching where you provide different teaching styles and different stuff like that, but it's only just like you just do it all the time because somebody in the room might need to hear it like through a video or through, you know, reading or whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, there are different ways of learning, and there's theories about all that stuff too, about if that's really accurate. I do think there are various ways of learning, and some visual, but I don't get it on that level. And so when it's people that you're really close with, like you are with your roommates, like we were as a family and still are as a family.
Yeah.
And like your people, where you work, you're with the same group of people all the time.
Right. And you're in you're in the
so
same
closely
space
with each other.
It's the same space.
Yeah. And you're literally watching each other work. You're hearing, you become family like that.
Yeah. And you become.
Do you think it's worthwhile for people? Like, how has it benefited you at your workplace?
Like knowing that about him?
Love languages are.
Oh, and knowing about love languages. Yeah.
Yeah, to know what theirs is.
Oh, yeah. Well, when it comes to my manager, because he's really the only person that you have to please. Like, like he's in charge.
But you don't do it to please him.
I do not have to please him. No, because I just do the job. Well, yeah. So I just do my job. So I just show up and do my job. But I know that, like, let's say he was having a really rough week, and when I work, I go in and I reorganize like an entire wall of products and make it all look super, super nice. Let's say I do that, which I do often do that. He will text and say, I'm so happy, it looks so great. And that's it. And it's like quick, but he's grateful because he comes in and he sees that the store is set in a way that he's able to go and do the other things that he needs to get done. And so I try really hard. It's hard to keep up on it in there. We get a lot of people that come in and out, and oftentimes I'm on register, and so it's hard to leave the register when it's busy because there's always someone checking something out. So a lot of days you're stuck at the register, just bringing people up. But on the days that I do...
Have you ever done it on purpose to manipulate?
No. Not to manipulate. Oh my God, no. I do
positively manipulate him?
No, I don't. Well, you don't know, because he's not... So I don't view it like that because it's just my job.
Like, it sounds bad. Like, I don't mean it bad.
I know exactly what you mean, but I don't see it that way.
But when you're doing it...
No, I don't see it that way for that because I'm just doing my job. And I would do that for anybody.
I see it as a communication.
Well, like,
that's how you're communicating to him.
I just would do it. I would doing it because it's my job, and that's that. It doesn't matter who the manager is. It doesn't matter who my coworkers are. It doesn't matter what the job is or where I'm working. I'm just doing what I'm getting paid for because that's how I was raised. Like,
so
I really don't view it as me like poking at him or I don't view it as me trying to...
I don't think it's a bad thing to...
I'm not getting anything out of him. I'm just doing my job.
Like, I say manipulation like it's so bad, but I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy to understand how people are sending and receiving love. Because especially if it's people you care about. And I guess, it's funny because I said, I don't really use it or think about it at work or anything. Because, I care about the people I work with, and I feel love for them and all of that kind of stuff. But I don't spend as much time with them, even in like you do at your small retail store. We're all doing doing our own things. But for us as a family unit, or you with your roommates, I think it's really healthy to understand it.
Oh, absolutely. Extremely.
Then it's about like clarity and communication, clarity in how are people bonding, how are they sending and receiving love, because it's a love language, but it's combined with information and messages and communication and personalities, and it's all that stuff, that level of everything as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the book is by Gary Chapman. It's called The 5 Love Languages. And this isn't like, we didn't ever do this podcast trying to like push books or really so much or things like that. But, this is what's supposed to be like a self-help podcast. It was just you and I chatting. But it's funny how much that has played a role. It's played a positive role in our relationships. It's been a positive role with
love languages.
Yeah, and how it's a positive part of how we've like communicated and everything, and it's been super helpful.
Oh yeah, it makes a huge difference in when you're living with people. It's the way, if you don't understand love languages, you're not gonna have peace. Like there were always it's so that way you're not walking on eggshells. It's a way to keep the peace, because it is. Because and I know I know that, I don't know, okay, my one roommate,
the dishes is like a perfect example.
And my one roommate, she likes cleaning, and so I think a lot of people would take that as, oh, well, she likes to clean, I'll just let her clean up. But that doesn't mean she wants to clean up after me.
Right.
And so every time I see that she's cleaned, and I know like, because we have a dishwasher, so we fill the sink, you know, we run the dishwasher. While the dishwasher's going, the dirty dishes end up in the sink, and then the clean dishes get taken out of the dishwasher, and those get from the sink into the dishwasher. We never like hand wash dishes really, because
Right.
we were able to do it that way. So the sink will get full of dishes, and then once it's full, we put it in the dishwasher, whatever. Like, it's a fine cycle, it works, whatever. We probably run it once a day, whatever. And when I come back and I see that she has cleaned, and I know that I had dishes in the sink, that I had left something out on the couch, and she just puts it on like our beds if she like is picking up, and I know that she's done that. And when I see that she's done that, instead of being like, you didn't have to, like, you don't have to clean up to me, I just make a point to say thank you. I just make a point to say, oh, did you clean up in here? And she'll go, yeah, I did. And I go, thank you, it looks really good. And it's just stuff like that where it's like, just recognizing that she did all of that, and she knows that she didn't have to, but she wanted to because she wants it to be clean. But I don't want her to think that I am expecting her to clean up after me, because I know that about her. And so I think it's just like, well, and yet comes back to communication and just recognizing that when someone does something for you, that a simple thank you can go a really long way in that environment. Because like growing up in a household with family is so different, because it's like I can yell at you and be like, I didn't want to clean up the mess right then, like I can yell at you,
Yeah.
you know, or whatever it is, or, you know. But when you're living with roommates, it's a really different dynamic, because you don't want to argue with them, because
it's not going to be like that. No.
they're not going to be there the rest of your life. Like, you don't want to risk living in a environment where you're feeling tense. And so I think, like, yeah, it's just important to have gratitude when someone does something for you like that, like clean up after you or whatever it is. Or like I know some people really like to make dinner. Like, I have a coworker who she always talks to me about, she's like, I love cooking for people and I love making dinner for people, but she's like, I hate when people just expect me to do it. She's like, I'll do it for you. Like, if you ask me, like, hey, could you help me cook this? I don't really know how. She's like, I'll do it. But I get so irritated when people think that I'm just going to without any, like, gratefulness, you know? And so she's like, so I think that it's like, when it comes to love languages, like, I know that for Kaylee, that is something for her. Like, I don't know what her love language is, but I know that she is okay with cleaning up, but I don't want her to think that I'm expecting her to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know that that's something that she'll do, but I don't want her to think that I'm expecting her to. And I want her to be recognized as it's literally 2 words. I just go, I will literally walk in from work and I'll see that it's been clean, and I'll go, and she's in the living room, I'll be like, oh, did you clean up in here? And she'll go, yeah. And I'll go, okay, thank you, it looks really good. And that's it. And then we move on. But it's so easy. And I don't view that as manipulation. It's just gratitude.
Well, no, that's just being like a human. That's, you know? Like being a good person. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just think, I don't know. And I think when it comes, like, when living in space like that, it's just important to, like, you have to change yourself when you are living with roommates. And
I think you should change yourself with your family too. Yeah. Because you're, like, I birthed 2 children, right? You were born with a personality. And I can't expect you to have, like, I did not design that personality for you. Right. I did not, like, when you were born or when you were in my belly, I didn't say, oh, I'm going to give her gifts as her love language. And so that when she comes out, she's going to want to send and receive gifts all the time. Like, I had no choice in that. Yeah. And you're that way. And I need to. So as a family, I think you have to adapt as well. Mm-hmm. And like for me, learning that Dad learning that words of affirmation and quality time are dad's. My second one is quality time.
Yeah.
But learning that by giving dad the affirmation that it's not about like, you know, oh, poor guy, he's got to hear all this, you know, you got to like kiss his ass or you got to like tell him whatever. That's not really it at all. It was,
no.
How am I gonna like support him? How am I gonna uplift him? And that was our goal as a family. Like, how are we gonna uplift each other? And
yeah, I think so too. Yeah, like,
and then it does create peace, like you said, right?
Yeah, it creates peace. Yeah,
it creates more peace, right?
Definitely.
And then people feel
peace.
they're a part. If you care about each other, you're gonna feel a part of that family unit, right? But there's a lot of people that don't care and don't want to invest any there's other things besides love language for communication. But
well, and I think, like I was saying about changing, I think it's important to, like, you can't be stubborn and just say, well, I'm not going to do that because that's not how I am.
I think there's a lot of people who are, though.
Who are. That's why I'm saying this. So it's like, because as much as let's say, as much as I might feel weird being like, oh yeah, you're doing so good, Dad, or whatever, I know as much as like that might not mean anything to me, I know that it means something to him.
Yep.
So I have to change myself if I want to keep a relationship with that other person.
Yep,
and so,
exactly.
and especially when you're living with people, because I have lived with a lot of people through college. I have lived with a ton of different people, and because that's how roommates, whatever, they change, whatever. And I've learned that if I hold on to, like, okay, let's say being a messy person is your example, just because we've kind of been on that cleaning, whatever. Let's say I'm a messy person and I think and I'm just like, well, I'm just a messy person. Like, they're just going to have to deal with that. If you have that mindset, you're not going to be able to hold on to those relationships like you want to. Because even though you might be that kind of person, the other person isn't. And the other person might see that as something that irritates them.
If you care about people.
And so if you have any care for someone that you're living with or someone that you want to hold on to a relationship with, it is so important to adapt. And you don't have to do a complete 180 and completely change yourself, but it's as simple as, like, we will see that you're trying. Like, you're not going to be perfect at it. You're not going to change in a day, but like, I will, like, if I am irritated with something like that you're doing, and you know that that's something that I might not like, if you just continue to do it without trying to even change it at all, I'm just going to become more and more irritated, and I'm not going to want to talk to you.
Yeah, you shut up, wall up.
But I'm like, even if you continue to do it sometimes, but I know and I can see that you are trying to make a change and that you're trying to do something different, like, and not in a way that's meant to like please me, but just in a way that's meant to keep that relationship intact, I'm not going to become upset about it anymore. You know, I'm not going to be so, you know, if I see, oh, you are trying to clean up after yourself, you are trying to keep up on your mess. If I see that you're trying to do that and I come in and there's a mess, I'm going to be like, okay, they'll get to it eventually because I know that they're trying. But if you've never tried to clean up after yourself and there's just constantly messes and I'm just constantly cleaning up after you, I'm going to become exhausted. And I'm going to become so sick of it that I don't even want to be around you anymore.
Right.
And that's the perspective of like why I think it's so important to learn about what people's love languages are, and why I'm glad that you gave that to us, is because now I know, okay, this might not be something that I'm the greatest at, and this might not be something that I consistently do, but if I want to keep a relationship with that person, I need to start implementing that when I'm with them. And that's that. Like, it's really easy.
So what do you want for your birthday?
You got to figure it out.
Yep.
I really don't know. You know, I am guilty of this.
Though.
When
No,
it comes to my birthday, I am guilty of people saying, "What do you want?" and me drawing a complete blank and having absolutely no idea.
because it's
So,
about, yeah, I know. I'm just messing with you.
anyway,
Yeah, and
so
it does tie back in, like the whole thing ties in with having empathy and being able to stand in another person's shoes and
yeah,
their
which so many people
perspective
do not
and
have.
what is their point of view. Their perspective's their reality. Your perspective is the idea of the
Yeah.
gift giving, and that's your reality. And me having empathy
Right.
for that is understanding that that's important to you. And I want to have a relationship with you. And I care. Hang on. Oh. And I want to have a relationship with you. And I care about you. I love
Right.
you. And so
Yeah.
you know, and how easy. It's so easy.
So easy. It's really so easy.
It's
And
so
you know what
easy.
I find that if you start doing it for the other person, you will eventually come to enjoy that. Because another one that I found over time that I'm starting to enjoy is quality time. And just like, I don't necessarily, and I think that comes from being thrown into the life of college and there always being someone around, and you just start to kind of grow used to there being another person in the same room. But now it's gotten to the point where sometimes I want to hang out with someone and I don't need to talk to them, and I just want to be in the same presence as them. You know, I just want to be in their company. And
especially with your roommates, because when you're in and out of like work and school and stuff, like you want to go home. And so
right. And well, like today, Kayla was in the living room doing something with one of her assignments, and I was just on the couch on my phone. But we were just in the same space and we were both kind of doing our own thing and relaxing. But like if I were to say something to her, it would have been fine. But it's just kind of like, I don't know, you're both just like relaxing, you're both in the energy, but you're not completely in solitude.
Right.
Like, you know that there's other people in the space.
Yeah.
And you're it's like,
oh, I'm at home. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not expecting to have a conversation, but sometimes it's nice to just be there with a person.
Yep.
So it's the term comfortable silence. That's what the term is.
Okay.
I've heard people say comfortable.
That's
silence.
Healthy.
It's healthy. And
that's hard for me because I talk all the time. Yeah.
We both do.
Awkward.
That's why we're here.
I know. That's the truth. That's the truth.
So, yeah, this is a good... Hold on. So, yeah, speaking of comfortable silence, there's a song to kind of wrap things up by Harry Styles, funny enough. But I haven't really been listening to him lately, so I think it's surprising that I was reminded of this. But one of the lyrics in the songs is, he literally says, comfortable silence is so overrated, and it's called From the Dining Table. It's from his first album, which I really liked that album. I think it's actually my favorite album. I wish he would have stuck with this more rock thing that he was going for instead of leaning so much into the poppy stuff, but that's just personal opinion. And I felt like his lyrics in his songs in his first album were much more emotionally driven. And
what did he say? Comfortable silence is overrated?
So overrated. Yeah. Which I think is funny because it's contradicting everything that I said about enjoying comfortable silence.
Yeah.
But the song is about missing someone. About missing being in that space to someone, and basically being
What's the name of the song?
Comfortable silence is overrated anyway. Like that kind of attitude. Right. I think that's like how I view it, at least.
Because he missed him and he wants to be with him because he's alone.
Because you're missing.
What's the name of the song?
Yes. From the Dining Table.
Oh, okay. I missed it.
So the first lyric in the song is, woke up alone in this hotel room, played with myself, where were you? And then later on in the song, we haven't spoke since you went away, comfortable silence is so overrated. Why
'Cause he
won't
was
you ever
missing.
be the first one to break? Even my phone misses your call, by the way. And
Yeah.
it's him being like, I miss your presence. And it's literally that. It's like comfortable silence is overrated anyway. Like kind of trying to brush it off and be like, but it's not. Comfortable silence. He's basically it's not overrated. It is so healthy and it's so important and it feels so good to just be in, like, if you're able to find someone that you're able to just be in the presence of and be content and have a mutual understanding, like that's the best feeling ever, you know, like.
Yeah.
And so, and it's really lucky, and that could be for anything. That could be for someone you work with, that could be for someone you live with, that could be someone you're in a romantic relationship, it could be anyone, if you are able to be in comfortable silence. And so yeah, I think this is a great song to listen to and relate to the conversation that we had, because it is about him missing someone. Do you have a song?
I do. So my song is called Joy, and it's there's many songs named Joy, but this one's Joy by For King and Country. It's a Christian rock band.
Okay.
And the main lyric is, because I choose joy. And then it gets into like, you know, feeling joyful. And it's a really upbeat song. And I have a magnet at work. I actually don't have it up right now, but it says choose joy. Because I think that sometimes, a lot of times, you can choose to be joyful.
Oh, absolutely.
And being joyful it's like at the core of your heart. And it's not like you just really can make a choice to be joyful in many situations instead of simmering in a pot of like negative or spinning in negative or whatever. And
it's like when people say, if you fake a smile long enough, it'll become real.
Yeah. I feel like for me, it's not like when I'm sad or mad or whatever, I genuinely am, right? And I just think that sometimes as we're going through our daily lives, we can like spin in that, negative kind of state. And sometimes you have to jump yourself out of it. Well, it's just like faking a smile.
I can hear the song as you're talking about it.
Because you can choose joy. And I really try hard to think like that and live like that.
Yeah, and choosing to be happy can save your life.
Yeah. Definitely.
And it really can. And
yes, it can.
We've seen that firsthand. And I think a lot of people hear that and they think it's just so silly, and they're like, because it's something that is tossed around and said over and over again, but it is so true that if you really choose to be happy about things and to be positive about things, it really can save your life. And yeah, I think that's a really big deal and something that a lot of people forget because they become consumed into other emotions.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by if you fake that statement, if you fake a smile long enough, it becomes real. Because there are moments where it's impossible to feel happy, but you know that if you are stuck in the funk and don't choose to try to get out of it, it's not going to happen immediately, but eventually, like, the happiness will become real, you know?
Yeah.
So, and if you are learning another person's love language because you're watching them go through something like that, that can help them get out of the funk even faster.
Yep.
So that's why the manipulation of love languages can be a good thing.
A good thing.
Yep. So, yeah. All right. That's all we have. I'm going to say bye-bye.
Bye.